The harsh reality of respect. Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and everyone pays attention while others just blend into the background? Why is that? It's not money, it's not status, and it's definitely not kindness. You've been lied to. They told you respect is something you earn over time, that if you work hard, if you prove yourself, people will respect you. But here's the truth: they won't, because that's not how the world works. The truth? Respect is taken, not given. And the people who understand this don't wait around hoping for it. They know exactly how to command it instantly. If you don't know this trick, you're the one being controlled. This isn't about manipulation. It's about power. The kind of power that forces people to take you seriously the moment you walk in. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to flip the script, so no one ever disrespects or manipulates you again. Let's get into it. Power is a psychological game. Most people have no idea when they're being manipulated. They think they're in control. But the truth? 90% of people are being played, and they don't even realize it. Why? Because in life, there's one brutal rule. You either control the game, or the game controls you. And the people who command instant respect, they know this. They don't chase approval. They don't beg to be heard. They make people listen without saying a word. Take this example. A businessman walks into a high-stakes meeting. He's not the richest. He's not the most powerful. But the moment he sits down, the entire room shifts. People straighten up. Conversations slow. Even those who don't know him start paying attention, and all he did was stay silent. While others rushed to prove themselves, he sat back, calm, controlled, unbothered. And when he finally spoke, everyone listened. That's power. That's respect. And today, you're going to learn exactly how to use it. Let's get into it. Law 1. Respect doesn't come from words. It comes from composure. Think about the last time you saw someone truly respected. Not just liked, not just noticed, but respected. They weren't the loudest in the room. They weren't trying to prove themselves, and they definitely weren't explaining every little thing. They had a presence, a weight to them, and most of that came from what they didn't do. The biggest mistake weak people make. Most people talk too much. When they feel challenged, they rush to defend themselves. When they feel unheard, they over-explain. When they feel nervous, they fill the silence with words. And every time they do it, they shrink. They don't realize that the more they talk, the less power they have. Because real power? It's in holding back. The strongest people in any room don't react immediately. They don't rush to explain. They don't scramble for approval. They make people wait. And that's exactly why they're respected. The Napoleon strategy: how to make people listen without saying a word. Let's go back in history for a second. Napoleon Bonaparte wasn't just a brilliant strategist on the battlefield. He was a master of human psychology. During negotiations, his enemies would come in full of confidence, throwing out arguments, trying to dominate the conversation. But Napoleon, he wouldn't fight back. He would sit there, arms crossed, face unreadable, completely still, and then he'd wait. At first, the silence would feel awkward, then uncomfortable, and before long the other side, desperate to fill the quiet, would start talking even more. They'd second-guess themselves, they'd over-explain, they'd weaken their own position, and by the time Napoleon finally spoke, he had already won. Because silence, it makes people uneasy, and the person who can stay calm the longest controls the game. How this works in real life. Let's say someone challenges you. Maybe a co-worker questions your idea in a meeting. Maybe a friend makes a passive-aggressive comment. Maybe someone straight up says, "I don't think you know what you're talking about." Most people, they react immediately. They get defensive. They explain themselves. They try to prove they're right. But the moment you do that, you've already lost. Now, imagine this instead. Someone challenges you, and instead of reacting, you just pause. You look at them. You let the silence stretch. And suddenly, they start feeling uncomfortable. They start questioning themselves. By the time you finally speak, calmly, deliberately, they're already off balance. You've flipped the power dynamic. That's how you command respect without saying a word. How to use this starting today. Pause before you respond. Let the silence do the work. Stop over-explaining. If you make a statement, let it stand. Control your pace. Speak slower. Move slower. Make people wait for your words, because the person who controls the pace controls the room. And this is just the first step, because even when you've mastered composure, there's another power play you need to know. It's subtle, it's psychological, and it's what manipulators use to test your limits. Miss it, and you'll hand over control without even realizing it. Let's talk about law number 2, the power of setting invisible boundaries. Law 2. Silence is the most dangerous weapon. Most people hate silence. They can't stand it. It makes them anxious, restless, uncomfortable. So what do? They rush to fill the gap. They talk too much, explain too much, try too hard. And in doing so, they give away control. But powerful people? They do the opposite. They use silence. They make others wait. They let tension build. And in the process, they manipulate the entire conversation without lifting a finger. Why weak people fear silence. Have you ever been in a conversation where the silence felt unbearable? You asked a question, and the other person just paused. No immediate reaction, no quick response. For a split second, your mind started racing. Did I say something wrong? Are they judging me? Should I explain more? And before you knew it, you started talking more, filling the space, over-explaining, second-guessing yourself. That's the power of silence. The weak can't handle it. The strong, they weaponize it. How to make people respect you without saying a word. Let's say you're in a meeting. You make a bold statement and someone challenges you. Most people panic. They rush to defend themselves. They start justifying, explaining, reacting. But you pause. You keep eye contact. You let them sit in the weight of their own words. What happens? They start feeling uncomfortable. They shift in their seat. They start doubting their own position. And by the time you finally respond, calm, controlled, deliberate, the entire room is listening. Because silence, it creates power. It forces people to respect your presence. And the ones who know how to use it, they dominate every conversation. The 3-second rule, how to practice this today. Let's try something right now. The next time someone asks you a question, don't answer immediately. Count to 3 in your head. 1, 2, 3. Feel that tension. That's power. Now imagine using that in real life. That's it. Just wait. Don't rush. Don't react. Just hold their gaze, stay still, and let the tension build. Then speak slowly and deliberately. At first, it'll feel unnatural. Your instincts will scream at you to fill the silence. But resist. Because once you master this, you'll notice something strange. People will start listening to you more. They'll respect your words, and most importantly, they'll feel your presence without you needing to prove anything. The next power move, invisible boundaries. But silence alone isn't enough, because some people won't just listen, they'll test you. They'll push your limits, cross your boundaries, see how much they can get away with. And if you let them, you've already lost. That's why next, We're talking about the hidden art of setting invisible boundaries, the psychological trick that forces people to respect you instantly. Let's get into it. Law 3. Control the frame. Control everything. Imagine walking into a room full of people you don't know. You feel their eyes on you, you sense their energy, and before you even open your mouth, a question flashes through your mind. Where do I fit in? Most people don't realize it, but the moment they step into a conversation, a meeting, or any social interaction, there's already a psychological battle happening. And the person who wins is the one who controls the frame. What is a frame, and why does it matter? A frame is the invisible context that shapes how people see a situation. It's the unspoken rules of engagement. Think of it like this. The person who sets the tone of the conversation controls the frame. The one who asks the questions controls the frame. The one who makes the other person react is in control of the frame. The problem is, most people walk into someone else's frame without realizing it. They try to fit in, they try to play along, they adjust to the energy of the room instead of creating it. And that's why they lose respect before they even say a word. The moment you let someone else define the rules of the interaction, you've already lost. But if you know how to control the frame, you control everything. The frame battle. Who reacts first loses. Let's look at a real-world example. A top defense lawyer walks into court. The prosecution is aggressive. They attack his client, trying to push him into a defensive position. Most lawyers would immediately react, start explaining, defending, justifying. But not this one. Instead, he pauses. He doesn't react to their accusations. He doesn't answer their direct questions. Instead, he asks his own. You claim my client is guilty, but tell me this. If you had undeniable proof, why are you still trying to convince us? Suddenly, the frame has shifted. The prosecution is now the one on the defensive. They are the ones justifying, scrambling to explain, and just like that, he owns the courtroom. Why? Because he never accepted their frame in the first place. How to take control in every conversation. If you want instant respect, you must control the frame. Here's how. 1. Never answer a loaded question directly. Instead, reframe it with your own question. 2. Set the tone first. If you walk into a room with uncertainty, you're already in someone else's frame. Walk in knowing you belong. 3. Make people react to you. If you're the one always responding, you're not leading. Shift the focus so they are the ones adjusting to you. For example, someone asks you, "Why should we listen to you?" A weak response. "Because I have experience and I know what I'm talking about." A powerful response. Pause, hold eye contact, then say, "That's a great question. But let me ask you this. Who do you usually take advice from? Someone who tells you what you want to hear, or someone who actually gets results?" Boom. Now, they are the ones responding to your frame. And that's the difference between commanding respect and begging for it. The next level, the unseen rule that manipulators use. But even when you control the frame, there's still one more thing you need to know. Because some people don't play fair. They won't just accept your frame. They'll test you, push you, subtly challenge your authority. And if you don't recognize it, they'll start bending you without you even realizing it. That's why next, we're talking about law number 4, the art of setting invisible boundaries. This is where real power begins. Let's get into it. Law 4. Never let people test your limits. Respect isn't just about how you present yourself, it's about what you allow. And here's the harsh truth. People are always testing you, not openly, not directly, but in small, subtle ways. A snide remark disguised as a joke, a friendly push to see if you'll react, a favor that feels a little too one-sided. These aren't coincidences, they are calculated moves, because manipulators don't take control all at once. They push little by little, until one day you realize you're the one being controlled. How manipulators test your boundaries. Imagine this. You're in a group conversation. Everything seems normal. Then someone makes a subtle jab at you. It's just a joke, right? So you laugh it off. And in that moment, something happens. The person who made the joke registers your reaction. They now know they can push you without consequences. Next time, it won't be a joke. It'll be a challenge. And if you let it slide again, it'll become a pattern. This is how people lose respect without even realizing it. The power of stopping it early. Now, let's flip the script. Imagine that same moment, except this time, instead of laughing, you stop smiling. You turn to them, look them straight in the eye, and say, calmly but firmly, "Don't do that." No anger, no overreaction, just cold certainty. What happens next? They laugh nervously. "Oh, I was just joking." But now they feel the shift. They know you won't play that game. And just like that, the test is over. The one sentence that can change everything. Let me tell you about a man who flipped his entire social position with one sentence. He was at a dinner party, surrounded by people who didn't really respect him. He was always the guy they teased, the one they knew wouldn't push back. Until one night, someone made a snide comment at his expense, and instead of laughing, instead of brushing it off, he did something different. He turned, locked eyes with the person and said, "Don't do that again." The entire table went silent. The energy shifted instantly, and from that night forward, they treated him differently because he drew a line and made sure they saw it. How to apply this today? Notice the small tests. Pay attention to jokes, small physical pushes, or requests that feel off. 2. Stop rewarding disrespect. If someone crosses a line, don't laugh it off, don't ignore it. 3. Use your voice carefully. No yelling, no aggression, just direct, calm assertion. Don't do that. That's not how I operate. We're not doing that. These phrases carry weight, and once you say them, you'll notice something surprising. People start respecting you more, because those who don't enforce their boundaries, they don't have any. The final rule: how to hold power without saying a word. Most people who fail to set boundaries make another mistake. Instead of enforcing respect, they overcompensate. They make themselves too available, always trying to prove their worth. And that's exactly why they get overlooked. But the powerful, they do something entirely different. They understand that true respect doesn't just come from what you say or do. It comes from how rare and valuable your presence is. That's why next, we're talking about law number 5, the presence effect. Law 5, the high-value presence rule. Make your presence count. There's a reason why the most respected people in the world aren't always around. They don't show up everywhere. They don't make themselves too available. They don't chase attention. Instead, they do something far more powerful. They make people feel their absence before they ever appreciate their presence. And that's exactly why they are respected. The biggest mistake weak people make. Most people think the key to respect is being visible. Always responding to texts immediately. Always being the first to show up. Always saying yes to invitations. They believe that if they're constantly present, people will value them more. But the opposite is true. The more available you are, the less valuable you become. Think about it. What happens when someone knows you'll always be there? They take you for granted. But when your presence is earned, not given freely, it shifts the dynamic completely. The strategic absence effect. Let's talk about a man who mastered this rule, Winston Churchill. During World War II, Churchill was a symbol of power, leadership, and resilience. But one thing most people don't realize? He was rarely seen in public. While other politicians gave speeches daily, showed up at endless public events, and made themselves constantly available, Churchill did the opposite. He only spoke when it truly mattered. And because of that, every time he stepped onto a stage, his words carried more weight. People listened, not just because of what he said, but because he wasn't always there to say it. His presence was rare, so it was respected. How to use this rule in your own life. You don't have to be a world leader to apply this. Here's how you make people value your presence more. 1. Withdraw when you feel disrespected. Someone keeps ignoring your texts. Stop texting first. A friend doesn't appreciate your time. Give them less of it. A group takes you for granted. Step away and let them feel the difference. 2. Show up with purpose. Stop attending every social event just to be there. Make people feel your absence so they notice your presence. 3. Control your availability. The next time someone texts you, pause before responding. If they don't respect your time, don't reward them with it. This is how you shift the balance. The final step, making power. A permanent part of who you are by now, you've learned 5 of the most dangerous psychological tricks to gain instant respect. Control your composure. Power comes from what you don't say. Master silence. The one who can handle tension always wins. Own the frame. The one who controls the conversation controls everything. Set boundaries immediately. Let one thing slide, and you'll lose control. Make people feel your absence before they value your presence. But learning these rules is only the beginning. The real power comes from applying them. So here's my question to you. Most people will forget everything they just learned in a few hours. They'll go back to being ignored, manipulated, and overlooked. But a few, the ones who actually apply these principles, will start commanding respect instantly. The choice is yours. Stay the same, or start taking control. Which side are you on? Because respect isn't given, it's taken. And from this moment on, it's yours to take.